Hey, Blue Rockers, how are you? Welcome to Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. I'm Connie Willis, and tonight is cryptoconnie Tuesday, so I'm cryptoconnie. Change a little thing. You hear all that noise? That's our guest tonight. He'll be on in a second. I don't know what he's rattling around over there, but he's doing something. We got to turn off his mic when that kind of stuff happens, so sorry about that. Here we go. Watch. And then I'll forget to turn it back on. Oh, wait a minute. He's coming soon. But we're not going to talk to him yet. We're not even talking to you yet. Say shh. So, it's Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, Earth's most interesting conversations. That includes people, places, and things. I want to thank you guys for being here. Please hit that like button while you're thinking about it. And make sure you tell everybody about the show, okay, and get them interested in one of our shows. We have several of them. This is cryptoconnie Tuesday. We talk to people about crypto. If it's not Stan, it'll be somebody else that you may or may not know. I still got to get Fuzzy here. I got to get this Fuzzy guy here. Wednesdays, I'm going to start, I haven't yet. I've already got some things lined up. It's going to be Wasted Wednesdays, talking about the cannabis industry. And then on Thursdays, we do Far Out Thursday. Who knows what we'll talk about at that point. That's kind of the signature night. And then on Fridays, Bigfoot Fridays. That's all of that is 10 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes it doesn't happen. For the most part, it does happen. I kind of think so. You may not, but I think so. And then on Sunday, it's Stan's Bible lecture. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern. All the other shows are 10 p.m. Eastern across the board, and Stan's is 1 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. Well, I guess, you know, a lot of you have been asking where else you can find Blue Rock Talk, and some of you might or may not know anything about this. DTube, DLive, they're all on the STEEMit platform. That's steemit.com, STEEMIT. There's a link down below. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spreaker, Spreaker, that's coming up, as well as iHeartRadio. So if you go ahead and go there and look for Blue Rock Talk, you'll find it. You can go ahead and hit follow, because when I start, I'm just going to start. You know, I haven't pulled that together yet of how to pull it together with everything that I'm about to pull together. So stay with me and you'll see that big cool stuff that I'm about to do for you. Was there something else? I know people were asking me about what happened last Friday, the 13th, and that was Art Bell passed away on Friday the 13th, and he was found in his home on the floor. Now, that was the first story that we got. I had actually saw a tweet that I got that somebody said he passed, and then a second one I thought, no, this can't be, and I tweeted George Norrie while he was on the air, and I said, hey, is this true? And he said, yeah, as far as we know, it is true. They had to, try to verify before they put that on the air. Don't want to have fake news out there. And, as far as, I was on Saturday night and dealt with that. So it was a little tough and still a little tough. It's kind of strange. I have not heard a thing. I haven't went in and looked for anything. I was just kind of dealing with it my own way. And so thank those of you that did comment on the show and also gave your respect to Art Bell as well. I don't know the next time I'll be on Coast to Coast, but again, thank you for all your emails and tweets and things. At one point, I think I might go on and read those to you, because some of them are just absolutely wonderful, and some of them are absolutely horrendous. I don't know why people even take the time to go to their computers and say such horrible things. But they seem to do that along the way. So, all right. So let's go ahead and bring on our guest. It is cryptoconnie Tuesday. And let me see if I can get my hands around all this equipment that I have and bring on Stan the man. Woo! So, the GodFather of BitShares is who this is. For those of you that are new, Stan, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? Yay!
Time. And so then, at that time, we'll do an open mic, just give you guys a chance to ask any questions that might be on your mind. And I'll tell you what I did if anybody cares.
Well, you know what? Absolutely. And we want to hear whatever you have to say like that. But let me tell you something. When I first started the show, I don't know, I think you were moving furniture or something. And so I turned your mic down. And this time it was Connie error. I just now turned it back up because I went, huh. Now see, I can hear him, everybody. And I looked and I went, oh, your mic is down. So I just turned you up. I'm so sorry.
So you're telling me nobody heard anything I was saying?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good because I didn't have anything important to say.
I can't believe it. I'm so sorry. And then everybody said, no sound, no sound. I am so sorry because, I just despise when I have that problem. And it's even worse when I do it myself, when it's my error. So I apologize.
Well, it's hard to get good help these days, but
I'm sorry. So, everybody did hear what I said, so that was cool. I think my mic was on, yes. And so basically, this is Stan Larimer, and he is the man. He has done some really neat things here with us here on Blue Rock Talk, and I will now let him tell a little bit more about himself. For those of you that are new here on Blue Rock Talk, and by the way, if you're a Blue Rocker, this is our little hand signal. It's like, it's just backwards Spock and sideways. And it's just, a Blue Rocker is someone in the know because you listen to Blue Rock Talk. Okay, so Stan, your mic is on. Go.
Yay!
I'm so sorry.
To have an open mic. This is great. Okay, my career has nothing to do with what I do today. I was a guy that worked in the aerospace industry for close to 40 years. Got called out of retirement to help my son, Dan Larimer, start a company. He's since gone on to do great things, and I'm like one of those solid rocket boosters that is slowly parachuting back down to the ground, having given him his initial boost, but at this point he's self-sustaining and looks like headed for the moon. As I understand it, he was briefing the Senate Finance Committee yesterday on what he thought were good ideas for regulations. So, that's the level he's achieved.
Wow.
And, proud papas sit back and watch that. But meanwhile, so I'm, out looking and being an evangelist for everything he's built, in particular BitShares and his new project EOS, and how the two of those are going to take advantage of each other coming up in the next few months. So my job right now is cheering on some very brilliant people who are working to upgrade BitShares in many interesting ways, to take advantage of what EOS is doing, so that this summer, while EOS is getting all the glory, BitShares is going to be sitting there saying, well, you think that's great? We're sitting on top of EOS.
I love it.
On top of EOS means a number of things. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to, in the immediate term, take and move BitShares itself onto EOS. But we've got a strategy that makes everything BitShares is doing benefit from EOS, and that's what a good chunk of really clever, incredible people are sitting there working on. And at this point, other than giving them a few ground rules like, I want it to be perfect and exciting and make BitShares the number one product out there, the technical details of how they're going to do that are up to them, and they're inventing stuff at such an incredible rate that I can't keep up with it. So I couldn't tell you, even if I wanted to, exactly how it's all going to work. But we're going to be looking into that, and it's a little bit like taking a beagle for a walk. If you've ever done that, you got to lean backward onto the leash. The dog wants to go, and that's what we got right now going on. And so that's really thrilling, because it's a lot harder if you're the guy out in front saying, come on, let's go. No. This is, whoa, Nelly! This is what I'm actually facing. That's
you sparked pity off on that one. Penny, that was Stan. Come back. That was Stan. Oh, that's funny. You went, ah. Well, I know you can't tell us what, they're doing and everything. Come on, Penny, it's Stan. Come on, girl. Good girl. But can you kind of, I know you said summer, but can you kind of estimate, really, guesstimate? Is it more like maybe in a month?
Well, this stuff is developing.
We're trying.
At an incredibly fast rate, but the only thing that's growing faster right now than the work is the vision that is expanding, like a big bang, and so here's development going faster than I've ever seen it done, and here's vision growing faster than that. So it's really hard to sit down and say, well, when's it going to be done? The goal keeps, getting bigger, and so the amount it takes to get it done gets bigger. Of course, our challenge is to figure out, okay, let's parse that up into little incremental things so we can have something that's an improvement in the next couple months, and then something after that, and something after that. And I'm quite thrilled with what's all going on there. But at this point, we have what one might, in fact, I've actually been called this in the past. Few people know that, but I've been actually called a requirements creep. Okay, because most of my life has been making requirements for other people to go implement. But we have requirements creep going on right now, big spades. If you can imagine everything you can do with EOS and say, oh my gosh.
I love it.
And so their vision to do with EOS is expanding. And the only thing I can tell you is that their goal is to make BitShares benefit from EOS. And in some sense, that's pretty amazing in its own right, because EOS is broad. It's like a $2 billion company.
Wow.
And so the kind of things they got going are amazing. For all I know, they're going to be launching a Tesla into space before they're done, because they have the resources and they're trying to figure out big, significant things to do. But when you're something like BitShares, it doesn't take much, that vast ocean of new technology, to make some seriously big improvements in what can happen. So I think BitShares actually stands to benefit more from EOS in the short term than EOS, right? Because, there's a whole lot of things going on, but we're talking about a group of people who recognize and appreciate what EOS is and are saying, what can I do in order to make the BitShares system, which is a smart coin factory and a decentralized exchange, which is critical, and imagine them thinking about how to project BitShares services onto the entire new EOS universe in a way that it picks up a whole lot of new business along the way. So, that's about all I can say right now, because, like you say, those beagles are out there running at very. I don't know which rabbit trail they're going to go down next, but that's what's happening there. In the meantime, I'm out running around. Sunday I drove 7 hours to Valley Forge and had a 2-hour meeting that went very well with a potential investor, and then another 7 hours back home. And then today I was trying to catch up on all the other stuff's coming up. On Friday, or on Thursday, actually, I go to Virginia Tech first thing in the morning and speak to a bunch of Virginia Tech students. And, I was pretty proud of that, about all, I'm going to go talk about all this stuff to the Virginia Tech crowd.
I love it.
Somebody sent me a link tonight showing that Dan had been there last month talking to an entire auditorium full of people.
Yes. I was going to ask you if that was the same place. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, is that the same place?
My crowd might be 50 people. His was 500 or something. But, that's what we have to learn to put up with, But, I was just, in the fact, when you called me up and say, Stan, we're on in 10 minutes, what was I doing? Well, I was actually talking to another customer. It's got another big project, who interrupted me from watching Dan's pitch, which I was about through. So I still got to go back to that when it's done. And I realized that probably have to watch about another 12 hours of his speeches in order to catch up with what he's doing. So.
Yeah, I hope to get him on Blue Rock Talk sometime. That'll be great. But what would be better than getting him? It would be getting both of you.
Well, that could happen someday, but he's right now in the process where, they still have their coin out there being distributed, and he just can't take a chance appearing in a format other than making a purely technical speech. He can't get out there and risk crossing the line on talking about something that's going on. So
you and I will talk, and he can just sit there. He doesn't have to say a word. We'll say, dance here.
Good idea. I'll have him sit on my lap like a dummy. I'll put words in his mouth.
Exactly. So if you can do me a favor, if you can put your earphones in and then turn down the monitor, the sound on your computer, your sound will work a little more. Patrick got on me there. Pat Conchak got on me saying, we start a show with a mic check. Actually, Pat, we did.
Yeah, we thought we did, but
it was kind of a Connie error, but it was also kind of, we'll add a little Stan error in there too, running around, but that's okay.
Well, I think we need to put it in your contract. It's always your fault.
I know, right? I'll take it.
Okay. Does that sound check better?
That sounds awesome. There you go. Now we won't break up so much.
Okay.
No breaking up, because breaking up is hard to do, and you were about to do that one, weren't you?
Oh,
you get that one up?
Careful. Do not encourage me.
I know. You're right. So I had a whole bunch of questions, and you answered every one of them. Thank you very much. The show's over. Good night, everybody. I wanted to ask you about, and I'll just go a little bit more in detail here, because I wanted to ask you about Virginia Tech. So when you go there, I mean, I know you say you're going to have 50 people there. I think you're going to have more than that, and I hope so. But what's that like for you? Do you enjoy doing that? I mean, I guess you had told me that you spoke a lot along the way. But, do you like it now more later in life, that it's your son's stuff you're pushing out there, or you're like, oh my gosh, I wish this would hurry up and just be gigantic so I can rest?
No, I always have loved getting up and talking to a group of people. Most of my life it was talking to government people coming for project reviews or program reviews, where we'd have, a large conference room full of government evaluators, and, I'd get my 1 hour in the sun talking about what my team was doing for the project and so on like that. And I always have loved showing off, what we've got done and explaining it to people and that sort of thing. So this is really not that much different. My favorite thing, of course, is the Sunday school and Bible study lessons, because that's got more importance than any human projects. But talking about BitShares on Tuesday night live with Connie Willis is actually pretty darn good too. And especially I love answering questions, because you just never know what's going to come up. And so the thing I like most about this session, I think, is the fact that we get to the questions fairly rapidly. And so when I'm standing up in front of that group, I got so much to tell them. It's just unbelievable. I think they've given me 45 minutes for my presentation and questions. And, I could, I have filled up 4 hours of live coast to coast with you on occasion. And so, there's no problem having enough to say. It's trying to get it narrowed down so you've got some time left for questions. And so that's what I'm going to do. And actually, in this particular briefing, in addition to trying to cover a little sampling of everything we've got going on, I'm going to do a riff on what we did Christmas Eve on Coast to Coast, where I talked about, the top 4 trends for the year. Well, I'm up to 7 trends right now.
Well, I thought you had like 8 or something like that, because I remember we decided to call it was top crypto trends, because because Salente was going around doing top 10 trends, right, or something, and I had him on, so you did the top crypto trends. You had said, because you had seen Gerald, and then you said, I'm going to do the top crypto trends, and it was like, let's do it.
I thought I was doing good with 4, but I'm great. 7 now, and you're right.
Probably, 8.
Well, if it is, tell me what one I've left off.
Okay, let's go back to the show and watch it, exactly.
Yeah. But, and that's right. Mentioned I have to go back and see if I got any notes on it or not. But at any rate, I'm going to talk about these, and just, I'll just read off the titles for you real quick if you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. We get the preview of Friday night's speaking engagement.
Yeah. So, trend one is the flight to safety from dollar abuse. Okay. Normally the flight to safety usually means people go buy gold and silver, but now there's crypto.
And now there's Quint.
Yeah, well, exactly.
They're going to go buy Quint.
High quality crypto-based gold-backed coins like Quint.
That's right.
And that is, I think, going to be a big trend of the year. We're really expecting that Quint to take off, because if anybody has experienced right now the volatility of the market and the fact that all you've got is either BitUSD or Tether. Well, BitUSD is highly popular, and BitCNY is even better in China. But the demand, there's so much more demand for stability than there are people who are willing to back those bit assets that BitShares has. So until that gets up to where there's enough people doing that, all you got is stuff like Tether, which is not backed necessarily by anything. It's highly questionable, but still, a lot of people use it. But when you got something that's backed by real gold, now you've got something that's pretty good. And so we expect people to be fleeing to the Quint in big numbers. The second trend is a flight to safety from crypto abuse. Okay, yeah, crypto's great. I'm a big advocate of it, but we got a lot of crooks in this industry and a lot of really bad crypto products that are out there, which is why the regulators are all over it. That's not really true. That's for why they're all over it. The real reason is because they'd like to protect the existing system from all the darn upstarts that are going to compete with them. And if they can use an excuse of bad behavior in order to regulate stuff, well, then that's going to be a problem.
What, the Sam Hill? Oh, my gosh. You get me every time.
Turn that off?
You get me every time. And and can you turn your sound down on your computer?
Yeah. You want me to turn you down or me down?
Yeah, turn your sound totally down on the computer.
Okay, I'm down.
Thank you. Low? Yeah, you can hear through your ears, right?
I hear you real good.
Okay, yeah, you got to turn that down because it's my mic picks up your, and your mic. That's how you got to turn that down. Put the ears on. These
ears aren't going to help at all because I haven't had a chance to mess with the control panel. It's still coming on my speaker.
Oh no! These crypto geeks, man, they don't even fix their own computers.
You should call me up and hassle me like 20 minutes earlier so we can get ready.
I tried.
Yeah, I know. I kept hitting reject on the phone because I was talking to a customer. But,
I sent you something earlier today too, but I know you get busy.
So anyhow, we're sorry everybody. We're a little bit out of control right now, but as we've established, it's always Connie's fault. So.
So you were at trend number 2.
Yeah, trend number 2, crypto abuse, which is people running away from the bad actors in our community, which they'll be not necessarily running away so much as running to better products that are high quality, and respectable and so on. So yeah, that's a big trend. I think is people realize they bought a lot of bad stuff last year. From people who were taking advantage of the system. And that hurt our industry terribly because it gave an excuse for the regulators to come in and just, ban everything, And so we get that kind of stuff happening. Not good, guys. But anyhow, that's what we're struggling with right now. Fortunately, the regulators are starting to learn the system a little bit and being kind of reasonable. I was very delighted to see that Chairman Clayton, the SEC chairman, has moved from his initial position of that every ICO he's seen is a security to, these tokens can be different kinds of things, and sometimes a token can change from being a security to not a security or vice versa. I thought that was really good. And now that the Senate Finance Committee is interviewing guys like Dan Larimer, I feel really good because at least we're getting, the detailed intellectual thought incorporated into it in a way where maybe it will influence how laws are made, and that would be good.
Well,
okay.
If I can just mention something about that before you go to the next one, and that is, I get these coins given to me. I'll look in my little BitShares wallet, and there's a coin given to me. I'm like, oh, wow. Or, somebody will give me 10,000 coins. What? This is nice. Who did this? What is this? And I've never heard of the coin or anything. And you just think, well, maybe one day. And it's nice. And some of them have actually gone up to like 20 cents and things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's right there with old BitShares. This is good. So, that's cool. But then I've checked out some other ones where I thought, in fact, there was one recently. I thought, well, who sent me one? Like one coin. When somebody sends you one, it's like, well, it's not even worth anything. You sent me one. So anyway, you check it out. And I looked, and this person, this coin, that had this coin that was throwing them out. I saw where they had, 9 trillion of these coins trying to sell them to BitShares and just all these big numbers and cancel. And, what is that all about? I mean, there's something not right about that.
Well, it's the free sample business, right? And, sometimes you get free samples of really good stuff, and sometimes you get free samples of stuff that's worthless. And sometimes people say, look, I'm just going to make a coin, don't have anything behind it, I'm going to give out free samples and put some up for sale. And there'll be a few suckers that go buy it because they like the name, and I'll get a little bit of money, and then I'll disappear. So there's that, but it's actually inverse to what you think. If you get 10,000 of something, they're really probably not worth anything. If somebody is saying, I got a really good coin here, and I'd like to get everybody interested in, but they're too valuable, I'll give you one. Mm-hmm. There's a chance.
Okay, I got you.
That the reason they only gave you one is because they do really value them.
True.
But once again, it's all a function of supply and demand, and how many of them there are, and how many of them they're giving out. And in general, we've done it ourselves in terms of, giving free airdrops to people or encouraging people. And this is where you get onto the flip side of it, okay? The idea of airdrop theory is this, that if you're trying to attract a particular community, like the Bitcoin community or the Dogecoin community, whatever, and you think that your new product appeals to this particular community, every one of those communities is a demographic, okay? For example, the Connie Willis coin community are people who, for some strange reason, like Connie Willis. So if you would like to,
coin, man.
if you'd like to reach the Connie Willis crowd, the bluerocktalk crowd, whatever, and that's the demographic you want, then it would make sense to give some free samples to everybody who owns the Connie Willis coin, if there was one. So when you want to do a drop onto the Bitcoin community, which is really what Bitcoin Cash did, right? They did a fork, but it was basically give everybody who had Bitcoin a Bitcoin Cash. And that's a good way to reach every single one of those people out there. And in that case, it worked, right? They got a multi-billion-dollar market cap right now. And people took it seriously. So your actual mileage may vary in terms of whether it's any good, but it's still a valid concept. And for example, if there was a coin out there called permaculture coin, I think there is, it's permacoin or whatever, and I had a new product that was a particular new kind of organic fertilizer that I wanted to reach, and I had an organic fertilizer coin, and I wanted to get people interested in it. Where would I airdrop it? Would I drop it on the general Bitcoin community, or would I say, no, I'm going to give it to everybody who's got a permacoin, because they're likely to care about organic fertilizers. So every one of those coins out there, all those so-called altcoins, has one thing in common, and that is they represent a community, a demographic that you might want to attract. And so when you create your new coin and you're thinking about who to give it to, look at all the other coins out there and say which one is the most like you or most likely to be interested in your coin, and maybe that's a candidate for an airdrop where you give out free samples to that group. And so that's the good side. Just one little thing there. Whether or not the government's going to come along and find out some kind of an excuse for why you giving away free samples is issuing a security.
Yikes.
They've tried that kind of garbage, but, and they can make up an excuse for anything. They say, well, you gave away a bunch of free samples, but that was just to get people to come buy your coin that you kept back for yourself, and you're going to use the proceeds from selling that to develop something, and that makes it a security. So the fact that you did an airdrop is not okay because you were advertising a security. So they can do stuff like that, and that's one of the bad things about the regulators is that they have no sense of humor.
Well, when these folks do give some of these coins out, I think sometimes they give one just to test it, because you even taught me that. Go test it first and see if it's sent through, and just put one in there and just lose a little bit of it instead of throwing the whole, thing out there and losing it all. So I think that's a good thing. So I see that once in a while. And, if BitShares is the coin making machine and people are coming in and just putting a bunch of junk out there too, can't BitShares kind of regulate a little bit who gets it? Or, maybe, here's a level and here's a level, and maybe even tell the BitShares folks out there that here's a level 1 coin, a level 2 coin, or a level 3, which means we've done more of a background here. This is more grounded, or anything like that?
Well, no, that would violate our fundamental tenet that there can be no central control. Nobody's censoring what can happen, right?
I would just want to know what's, legit or something. But
if we could censor it, then we could get told by rogue governments to shut it down, right?
True.
So we had to make sure that nobody could have that power, because otherwise it would get abused by people who want to shut things down. Right. Now, that said, there's nothing stopping people from engineering wallets, which are nothing but like viewers into the blockchain that lets you see stuff. And you could make a wallet that says, I'm not going to display anything that doesn't pass a certain criteria. Ooh. Now, there's a new company in the Philippines that I might mention, and it's called bitpelbts.com. And they've got a wallet where people actually vote for whether something should be displayed on their wallet or not, right? So only things that get enough popularity show up in their wallet, but their wallet shows all the BitShares.
I like that.
Stuff,
I like
that. That's a company I've been talking to for a while now, and I've been watching them build up. And now they got, I don't know, maybe 10 developers in the Philippines that are doing all kinds of interesting projects. And we'll probably have a lot of news coming out of the Philippines from them and several other projects going on down there in the coming months. So I just give a shout out to those guys for what it's worth. But that's an example of how you could, without interfering with the blockchain, which still lets anybody put anything on there they want, you can filter it by which app you download that gives you better control over, what things you have to look at. And even the BitShares reference wallet lets you go into your account and you see your whole list of free samples, and you go through not interested, not interested. You can hide everything you don't care about.
Right.
So it declutters it for you. And so it's a personal preference kind of thing mostly.
So you can still keep it, you just hide it out of your site. And then maybe at one point you can go and look in the little hidden little you might find a little treasure in there. You never know.
Something that you didn't think was going to amount to a hill of beans.
Yeah.
And the next time you go back and look and, there's 100 garbage coins in there, but wait a minute. I didn't know I had free EOS tokens in here. Who knew?
Wow. Wow. This is true.
It's better not to throw them away. You never know what might catch on.
That's right. I agree. So Pat Konchak said he sent somebody, one of us one. I don't know if it's you or me, but he said, I sent you one. One. So that's good. Then that means it's, it's worth a lot there. Hold back on it. D. Champer says Cliff High has a cult following that pump him up like crazy. Mainframe 386 says every coin Cliff High promotes is bad. And then G. Chomper says Quint could bring billions to BTS. Yay!
Yeah, the most exciting thing about it is the new people coming to BTS to get Quint, right? That'll be people who then discover all the other things you can do with the system.
Well, you know what? Let me see here. I want to congratulate you because now I go to something called CoinGecko. I just found it at one point and I'm able to put up all the things I want and it goes right to it immediately. And I haven't taken the time to find anything else. So if anybody says, "Oh, that's a really terrible one," sorry, it works for me right now. It's a CoinGecko. And I see that BitShares is at 20. Yay! And it might be different on something else, but congratulations, because, oh my gosh, it was down pretty low for a while. And it was almost like, don't talk to Stan about it. Don't even mention to him. Don't bring it up to him.
Yeah. I have to, go off and curl up in the fetal position somewhere when that happens. But,
what can you do,
Look at the historical chart. You see the same thing happen, peak and then this trough and then peak and then this trough and just turned a corner. I don't know if it's going to repeat like it did the past two peaks, but, we're coming up on EOS summer and, we want to ride that tidal wave. So I don't know. We'll see.
EOS summer. That sounds like a movie. EOS summer. Coming soon.
A Beach Boys album called Endless Summer.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
EOS summer. So.
I saw it as some kind of seductive, summery kind of, woo thing. Didn't see it as a horror film. Saw it as something good. So I think that's cool. I love it. I cannot wait for them. I can't wait for that. I've heard about it for so long and I know that it's going to be something awesome. And gosh, I can't wait to see how it works for someone that's a non-geek excited about something. I just want to see how it works. I know you guys are into how it really works inside.
I don't think the average person is going to even know they're using EOS. Okay. It's like Linux. It's an operating system that other people build cool things on. Okay. So if you imagine with their existing funds that didn't have anything to do with their ICO, they built EOS. And with their ICO out there, they're going around and doing strategic partnerships of all kinds, bringing in big businesses to use their operating system. So when you use your pathetic Windows machine or your awesome Mac machine.
I'm with you. Fist bump, boom.
So, you're using Microsoft Office or Adobe Photoshop, and you don't necessarily think about the fact that you're using Mac OS or Windows, whatever it is. And so I think you're going to find EOS is going to be out there enabling all kinds of new things, and BitShares is going to be one of those things that is taking advantage of the operating system to deliver a better job of what it's been delivering and more cool stuff to trade on the exchange and to create new coins and so on. So that's how to think about it. It's going to be big news for developers and therefore once removed from the average consumer in most cases. I don't think the average consumer is going to ever know about EOS, but they're going to know about products that are built on top of EOS for sure.
Well, I totally understand that. However, I must say, I usually know when I'm on Windows because it's horrible. At least I think so. But I'm always like, oh, I hate, why do you have Windows? Give me a Mac. Actually, I love Microsoft Windows when I use Word and all that kind of stuff. So I got the Office over there.
Oh, I haven't used Windows since 2010.
Oh, ooh. He gave up. Well, I'm learning Pages, since I got my new MacBook Pro. So because of that, I've had it for probably a year, but I'm just now trying to learn it. So it's a whole lot different, it's a different thing for sure. Before you get back to your trends, that you're going to talk about, I just want to throw out some of the things that are being said right now. D Champer wants to know, will you be able to buy Quint with BTS, with BitShares?
Absolutely. I think right now you can buy it with BitUSD, and the intent is to have basically the same kind of interface that you see on blocktrades.us or Shapeshift, where you can basically dial in any one of a bunch of different leading currencies and send that and get Quint back. So that's the ultimate objective. They're doing that little incremental steps, working up to the big July 4th launch.
Oh, that's right, July 4th. That's right.
Yeah. But, my mother and brother just sent in plain ordinary checks, and bought it that old-fashioned way. So they sent me a copy of it. It was
checks.
Such a flashback to the 1960s. Here's a handwritten note saying, "Please send me, so many dollars worth of Quint to this account, and attached is my check." A handwritten check. They sent it in and bought it that way. So you can do it the old-fashioned way. They don't care, and of course doing it the more modern way of wiring money there or sending in BitUSD. All those things are going to be continuously added as the development team gets around to it.
All right. Wow. I can't wait to see. I like going into my wallet and seeing I've got this many BitShares. I've got this many this. I've got, somebody gave me a new one of these. Oh, what's that one? Okay. Oh, where's my Quint? Where's that Quint I accidentally bought? Where is it? I can't wait to see that. I'm looking forward to that. So Eric Wright has a question, and Eric, your question is the one I got too coming up, but let's get him back to the crypto trends, and then we'll ask the question that you have. And I'm looking forward to that answer too, Eric Wright. So go ahead there. Mr. Stan Larimer.
All right. Trend number 3, the dark side of trading, freedom, safety. Okay. And that's something I think Ben Franklin once said. Those who would trade freedom for safety will soon find they have neither. Okay. And unfortunately, whenever you scream to the government saying, "I want government to interfere and intervene and go kick these guys' butts because something happened that I didn't like," you're just encouraging them to turn around and take away some of our freedoms in order to protect your sorry butt. And if you take personal responsibility for your own actions and don't do stupid things and take stupid risks, you wouldn't have to ask those government guys to come along and shut down freedoms for everybody, to come along and say the incredible thing that, because you don't have $1 million in the bank, net worth, not counting your home, you're not allowed to participate in buying these things we call securities. You've got to be a high net worth individual because high net worth individuals are inherently smarter. And I have this vision of some of these Hollywood celebrities who are high net worth individuals that are totally clueless being allowed to buy this stuff while geeks sitting there in front of their computer and studying and looking into the GitHubs and looking at the code and saying, "This is an awesome project," and they can't buy it because they don't have a whole lot of money. That's the kind of stupid stuff. And those kind of rules come first and foremost from people crying to the government to protect them and not caring about the freedoms that means other people have to give up to provide you that protection. So that's an ongoing trend. It's nothing new. There were people who thought back in the Prohibition days that it was a good idea to stop people from being able to go out and buy beer at their local pub.
What the Sam Hill?
That's the same thing. I get calls like that continuously all day long, and I didn't get my phone turned off, so we're going to have to put up with it because it's going to happen again tonight. I don't want to interrupt now to go figure out.
Go ahead, turn it off. Go figure it out now. Okay, now it's a cool sound.
As things weren't bad enough. My phone's on the other side of the room, but it's tied into my computer, so when it rings, every computer in the room jumps up and says, "Your phone's ringing." So get up and leave the screen and go find the phone and turn it off. But
screwing up the show, just screwing it up.
Hey, it's making it realistic. This is trying to show you a day in the life of Stan Larimer, if anybody cares. Okay?
That's good. Hey, how many times have I been over here going, "I can't get sound up. I can't get sound up. I can't pull Stan in. Where's Stan?" But
that phone does ring from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. every day. So I have to suffer with it. You guys can.
Yeah, right. Okay, so trend number 4.
Trend number 4, I used again on Christmas Eve with you, the great Bitcoin train wreck of 2018. Okay. Yes. And if you go to blocktivity.info and look at it, you'll see right now that Bitcoin and Ethereum are sitting there with a triangle with an exclamation point, meaning is they have a backlog. They're not keeping up with the amount of work that people want to do on that. They are saturated. And that is the kind of train wreck of everybody who last year started building a project, and they went to the industry and found somebody famous and they advised them to build it on Bitcoin or Ethereum, and now they're coming and wanting to use that and finding that Bitcoin only has 7 transactions per second for the whole world to use, and Ethereum might have 25 on a good day, and they're all using them. And so you want to bring your business onto that, you're going to find that you have to get in line or pay extra in order to have your transactions happen. But if you look on that same blocktivity.info website, you'll see that 2/3 of the transactions are being handled by either BitShares or STEEM, and their sweatometers haven't even moved off zero. They got plenty of excess capacity, and they're processing 2/3 of all blockchain transactions in the world. So the great train wreck is everybody who thought they were going to build on Bitcoin or other systems who have the common flaw of using mining, obsolete technology that's been obsolete since 2013. And still it's being used. So that train wreck is something that's coming up, and we're going to see it in projects who try to build on those overloaded and obsolete systems. But don't mind me. I'm not biased or anything.
Yeah, that's right. It's outlawed with you guys. What I hear so much about the mining, and for me and a lot of other people like me, it's like, what is mining? And I'm not asking you to go into that this time. I definitely have some other videos here, folks, that you can go check that out and learn what that is. But, I have people telling me about different classes to take. And one of them is, one person said, look, I really think the only way to really make a whole bunch is by mining. And he was sending me information of how to do that. And that's all good and cool and everything, but what do you think about that part of it? Not that you've outlawed, I know you've outlawed them and you don't like them at all, but I mean, is it still a good way to go in there and make pretty good money, or is it declining? Or
you have to decide that for yourself. I think long after the Model T was invented, they still sold buggy whips, but they started to fade away. Not many buggy whips are sold these days. And that's what mining is. You can still make money doing your mining out there, but you got to understand it's not all that efficient. For every dollar's worth of coin that you got, you probably had to burn 90% or 95% of that in paying for the electricity in order to do the mining. And it varies from coin to coin, but the fact of the matter is right now, most people, if they were to sit there and, if you got free power because you're sitting in your parents' house and your computer's running on free power, and you can sit there and say, well, I don't care how much power I waste, they're paying the bill.
It's mom and dad.
I get a coin once in a while, And if I'm located in certain countries that have vast coal power plants and government subsidized energy, then, maybe it makes sense because you can compete with the rest of the world, and it doesn't matter if you waste 90% of the value of a Bitcoin or 99%. As long as you get that 1% of a Bitcoin and you get enough of them, it can be worthwhile, but it's just an incredibly stupid and inefficient thing. I think they waste like $500 billion a year on electricity putting Bitcoins into circulation. Think about what would have happened if they had just said, hey, guys, we're selling them. Forget this. We'll have a lottery, and every 10 minutes somebody will win a new batch of Bitcoins, and we don't have to burn all that electricity. It would work just as well.
Okay.
Of course, if you use Dan's new technology that separates the lottery of who gets Bitcoins from the decision of who's going to sign the next block to perform the accounting function, and once you split those two apart, then you can solve those two problems separately. And there's really no need to do that mining stuff. That's just the first brilliant idea Satoshi Nakamoto had, but there's much better ways to do it, and that's been available since Dan invented it in early 2014.
That's pretty cool. And things just when anything is new and anything starts, it's always somebody's going to be behind you and trying to make it better. And you yourself try to make it better, It's just what we do as humans. And, I like it. And I like what Dan did. So I've got other people wanting to teach me, some really neat ways of doing it, kind of like a day trading thing. And I think that's going to be kind of cool. I want to know your idea on it. Now, I don't have their information to really get into it, but I'd like to do that sometime. It's more like a day trading kind of thing. And, so far my strategy has been, okay, let it sit there. That's it. Just let it sit there. Go on Steam it and try to, make some Steam and Steam back dollars and, BitShares. Oh, somebody sent me another 5. That's great. Pat Concheck sent me 1 or sent one of us 1. Just let us sit there and not doing anything else. But I think that would be fun because I never ever day trade it, and I know people that day trade it, and they're in the penthouse, condo with the entire view all the way around, and they just have fun in this gaming type center with all these computers around them, and this just really neat equipment as they, wake up at 4 a.m. or whatever time they wake up and do a little day trading. I think, and I thought, man, that looks like it's fun because it's like a game, and I've always liked the strategy of games in, board games or whatever type of games. I've always liked that strategy, and they said that's there. Now, I've never learned that because it looked a little complicated for me. However, this seems like something that, maybe I can get into, and it might be fun. So I'd like to kind of do something like that in the future. What do you think about that? And I think it's a crypto cowboy maybe or somebody like that, some cool guys that, want to teach me how to do that. What do you think of that? You think that's a good thing, bad thing?
No, it's fine. It's a good way for you to learn how to do that trading. You can't really do that, in the so-called big leagues of like the Dow or the NASDAQ or something, because there the professionals are swamping it. You're going to get your head handed to you if you try to do that. Not to mention that they have, computers that are located, as close as possible to the exchange computers so that they can jump in ahead of you and do a trade before the signal can get the whole way to your home computer and back. Wow. They can have already said, oh, this person is getting ready to order something. I'm going to buy it because I can get it cheaper. I'll sell it to them and I'll take all the profit they could have made because I'm closer to the exchange. That kind of stuff happens. So when you go into this, it used to be a nice kind of like amateur leagues where you could go, learn a little bit about trading. But of course, a lot of big experienced people have moved into this too. And there's an old saying when you're sitting at a poker table that if you can't spot the mark, it's probably you. Yeah. So, if you're in there trading and
that would be me,
busy policing you, while you're doing it. So, be careful. It's a dangerous environment, with a lot of people who have more experience than you, and they're looking for you to make mistakes so they can take some of your money.
So that's how it works. See, I have no clue at all about the strategy whatsoever. I've just, I don't know. Well, when that happens, I'll let you know what what they teach, what their strategy is. Okay, because maybe
it's still perfectly fine for you to go into some of the less busy exchanges, which might not have attracted so many pros. And just play with just little bits of money and learn what you're doing. There are places you can do that, but if you're going to go into the big places where Bitcoin and Ethereum are being traded, you're going to find that there's some sharks in there that know what you're thinking before you do. Yeah,
you're right. Nope. Well, we'll see what happens. I'll let you know what I learn. So, Crypto Trend 4?
Crypto Trend 4 was the Bitcoin train wreck.
Right.
So we're up to number 5.
Sorry.
Real-time institutional grade blockchains. Okay. Now, it used to be what the big deal was with BitShares is it was a real-time industrial grade blockchain, meaning it had the horsepower to handle transactions at the rate people wanted to do them, where you could trade in less than 3 seconds. And had the oomph to keep up with that. That's industrial grade. But to get to institutional grade, there are requirements for big money to come in that they need to have things that are well regulated, so to speak. And they can't just come into the Wild West and put their big investor pools of money into there. if they're not assured that it's all totally acceptable to the government, because they have the fiduciary responsibility to make sure they're not doing anything that would be even slightly questioned by the government. And so I think we're going to see, especially on the higher echelons of BitShares. BitShares is famous because anybody can put anything on there, and that's okay because it's the responsibility of who's using the system to obey the laws in their domains, and it's trying to serve the whole world. And some parts of the world don't care. So if that's the case, go ahead and put it on there. But when you get to institutional grade, there has to be a higher threshold in terms of KYC, AML, knowing your customer, having positive IDs, meeting all the regulatory requirements that would allow institutions to come in. That's a two-edged sword. People don't like giving up that kind of information about themselves. But on the other hand, they do like the benefits of having tons of institutional money coming in, competing for those assets, right? So how do you do it? Well, we put another layer on top of it as part of our upgrade path to BitShares 3.0 that will have the additional quality, if you will, that institutional investors want to use. And when we get that in place, it'll benefit everybody by getting a whole lot more money into the system, but that money will be somewhat restricted in how it can flow down into the Wild West part of the system. But BitShares is intending to, our hope is that the community will continue to support the Wild West while we work to provide things that are more carefully compliant with regulations so that the institutions can come in and use it too. So that was Trend 5.
Trend 5.
Okay. That gets us to Trend 6, easy adoption and good customer support. And, we've got tons of customers that want those kind of services. If they're going to bring their millions of customers onto here, they don't want to throw them into the current Wild West where, people are expected to be geeks and learn how to do it on their own, as you've experienced, right? So getting the extra customer support and protection is something that is needed in order to go mainstream. Of course, that takes money, and that means raising money in order to build the things that help people do that. And I think a number of people are doing that. We're trying to do that. I know EOS, with its vast budget, is looking at that a lot. And, putting that in place will make it go mainstream a lot more because people now have the budgets to, spend the extra effort to give better customer service.
$2 billion.
That's what I hear. So, that's a nice war chest. And that, more than anything else, I think is going to be what makes things go mainstream because they are big enough now to get taken seriously by big companies, the big box stores and all sorts of companies that are willing to talk to them, and even Senate finances committees that are willing to talk to them. So, that is a big watershed. And there isn't anybody I'd rather have talking to the Senate Finance Committee than Dan Larimer. I was not real happy with some of the people talking to the regulators before, but if Dan's there talking to them, then they're going to get some insights that they wouldn't get otherwise. So I'm pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, that's excellent. Congratulations for that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
7.
Trend number 7, my last one, regulation is dead. Long live regulation. Okay. Regulation is dead. Long live regulation. The old expression, the king is dead. Long live the king. That while there's lots of things we'd like to do about getting away with the old kind of regulations, we do recognize that regulations developed with some of the guidance Dan is able to give, and other people who are deep thinkers are able to give the regulators, if they would just stop and listen, can be huge. And one of the things Dan was talking about to his Virginia Tech audience is just exactly that, the benefits of for the regulators in terms of giving them a system that costs a lot less to supervise because all the rules are baked into the various smart contracts and the system, and the transparency is there, and the capability of being able to track down bad actors in some sense, this is controversial because a lot of us don't like the idea of of losing that privacy. But if you're going to put on your hat of talking to a government regulator, you can tell them this is not bad for you guys. If you would just work with us, we can show you how to do fair and balanced regulation of the industry using the tools that are already there on the blockchains, rather than the arbitrary and capricious kind of regulation that we see happening today. Work with the community, figure out what the rules ought to be, encode them into the blockchain, and entrust honest robots to enforce it. And I think you'll find everybody loving that, because you have to go through the political filter and then through the smart engineering filter to get to the actual implementations of the code. By the time it's done through that, you've got good regulations that are fair, and people don't object to that. What they object to is the shoot from the hip kind of attitude that regulators have, or the unfair deals where little guys get stomped and big guys get patted on the back and let go with a slap on the wrist. So by getting your regulations encoded on the blockchain where it's the same rules for everybody, I think that will be something we can all live with. So that's what I mean. Long live good regulation. Let's kill off the old bad stuff.
I love it. I love it. You guys, I like when you have those little slogans. And what is Dan's slogan? Because I remember he actually said it. You always say it for him. And then I saw him. I watched what you were watching earlier today. And it's freedom and property, and what is it? I can see it on a rug one day on your wall,
Yeah, it's finding ways to defend life, liberty, property, and freedom using the blockchain.
That's it.
And that's his ultimate mission. And when he was talking to that audience at Virginia Tech, he spent a lot more time on how you could do things like fair and honest voting, and regulatory enforcement, and a lot of government functions where we can let the politicians figure out what the effect they want to have, but instead of passing it to a bunch of people, they're going to write thousands of arcane rules that none of us can keep track of, and that we can so easily get in trouble for when we didn't mean it, and instead simply encode it into the blockchain where I can't get in trouble because it won't let me get in trouble. Boy, wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
So that's his big thing, is figuring out how to encode the laws that we want to live by into a form that we can select which jurisdiction of laws we want to operate in, and people who are comfortable with that set of laws can deal with us. And if you don't like that law, if you want some other law that is maybe tougher or looser, that you can choose that level of legal protection, and everybody can be happy because you've selected the jurisdiction that you're willing to put up with. And the people who want the nanny state to take care of them and make sure that nothing bad ever happens to them, great. They can go over play in the kiddie zone, in the shallow end of the pool. And people who say, look, I'm an adult, I can swim, please get out of my way, I want to do some laps in the deep end of the pool, well, they can select that too. That's the ultimate vision we'd like to see happen.
I love when you talk like that. I totally get it that way. It's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm with you all the way. I love that one. So 7 crypto trends. That's what you're going to be talking about to the folks on Friday night at Virginia.
Friday morning.
Oh, it's Friday morning. Okay.
Thursday morning at breakfast. Yeah.
It's Thursday morning. Okay. Holy cow. Hope nobody shows up Friday or Friday night. So, okay. All right. So how far away is that from you? Is that, it's
about a 40-minute drive, something like that.
All right. Okay. Trying to figure out all the layout there. I'm a wildcat. I just know where that is. That's all that matters, right? So that's it. Wow, that's interesting. So that's the exact. Are you going to be in the same exact room where he was?
No, he was in a big auditorium, and I'll be in a place where they're serving breakfast, and I'll be the breakfast speaker. After everybody's gone and got their pancakes or whatever, then Well, they're busy sitting there stuffing their faces. I guess I get to stand up and talk. But yeah.
Make sure you eat beforehand, So, right, because you'll be going, oh, man, that was so good. Look at that. Okay, so we've got plenty of questions coming in. I still want to ask you a few, but I'm going to throw out some of the questions that are here just because they are here. Fraternal House is throwing in a whole bunch of everything is fake, saying hello first, so hey there. And saying things like, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, and said that, it's a scam. I'm sorry, it's a scam. And one of the things he says is a scam is CryptoKitty. So CryptoKitty was a scam? I thought that did very, very well. Not that I've heard about it lately, but I thought at one point it did, like crazy well.
It brought Ethereum to its knees. That's what made it famous, by just using up too much of the available bandwidth. But itself, as far as I know, it's just a game. It's a frivolous application. I don't know what makes that a scam, but then again, I really spend very much of my time at all, like approximately zero time, looking at CryptoKitty kind of stuff. So, if there's something scammy there, I wouldn't know about it.
Okay. Meows, your cat meows in the background. So Brad Mulder asked, does EOS own a large percentage of Ethereum? He heard that EOS has over 10% of all Ethereum. Is that true?
Well, I don't know, but if I were just to put on my hat and say an awful lot of EOS are purchased with Ethereum, or Bitcoin, so, but Ethereum in particular. So they at least have touched a lot of Ethereum in the process of their issuance. But did they keep it on Ethereum or did they diversify? I have no idea.
All right. Well, then let's get to the big question that everybody wants to ask you, and me too. Before that, if you're just now tuning in, this is Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. It is Crypto Connie Tuesday. I'm Crypto Connie, and that's Stan Larimer, the godfather of BitShares. And once in a while, we'll call him Crypto Stan. There's probably another Crypto Stan out there, so we better be careful, right? While you're here, please hit that like button and show your support to the show and to Stan for being here. Also, share this with other people. Let's build. We're building our little show, so we'd appreciate that you guys would share this too, and always comment. And thank you that you guys are. So we're going to go ahead and take the live Q&A now. Put all your questions or comments too, if you'd like him to hear the comments, in capital letters. And if you guys want to, ever donate any favorite coins to me, that's fine. You can look down below and you'll see what they are. Yay! Some of them I think I need to take some of those out as my favorites. But I know I got Quint in there. That'll be great. That would be great. Can you imagine somebody going out there and sending you those? Because some people give you little gifts along the way, right? That's so cool when they do. That'd be a good gift to somebody. I don't know if they've made it that way to where you can though, right? Because if you got to buy it over somewhere else, it's hard to kind of give that as a gift. Wrong?
Well,
right?
Yeah, they're being very careful. So initially, you've got to be whitelisted as a person who's done the KYC AML allowed to own QuintS. They hope to be able to relax those as they get more government understanding of what they're doing. You theoretically shouldn't need that because it works just like cash. I can certainly give you a gold coin in payment for something, and there's not an issue, so why can't I give you a Quint? But we'll work our way up to that gradually. We want an abundance of caution in how that's done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, big question here. Tell us, what's the latest? What do you know? What can you talk about with Bench? Johnny Bench. I love Johnny Bench being the spokesperson for that. He's just up the river here. Come on.
Yeah. Someday I would love to do that sort of thing,
People would trust him. They would love him. He could do the Billion Hero campaign as well, but he could be the face of Bench.
Yeah. I don't know how many of the younger generation even knows who Johnny Bench is, but
he's just got to do that, hold the balls in his hand, and he'll just be, at that point they'll create VR to go with it, in some sort of cool game, right?
I was around when he was active playing for the Cincinnati Reds with Pete Rose as a couple of guys that even though I was a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, I still knew who Johnny Bench was and Pete Rose.
So let's do this. Okay, so Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, Concepcion, Joe Morgan, Ken Griffey, Tom Seaver.
Tom Seaver, yeah. There was a World Series pitcher.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was great. Well, being here in Louisville, Kentucky, that's Cincinnati Reds. Did you know that they were called the Red Legs previously at the very beginning of the whole thing? They were Red Legs.
I'm impressed, Connie. That was pretty good for right off the cuff being able to name half of their starting lineup. Not bad.
Dude, that was big. That was the team. I didn't get all of them in there, but I'm going to throw you out a little fact. I was the only girl on a boys baseball organized league for, I think, 8 years solid. So I was playing with all my guy friends. It was great. Ladies, I was with the guys. What?
Some people will stop at nothing in order to.
Well, it was between like 7 years old all the way up to like 15 or something. At that point, they were so much bigger than me and just nailing that ball. I was playing second base. And, when it came at speeds like that, I was done. No, I don't want to get, that ball hurts when it hits you. So, I used to watch the ball games all the time because we played all the time. It was a lot of fun, but, go Reds. All right. So back to bench.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't call it under that name, but when I talked to you about the amazing things that are happening in the move from BitShares to EOS stuff, that is the bench team that is doing that stuff. And so they've got, that's the ever expanding project that I was talking about.
Yeah. I thought you did call it bench.
Yeah, that's the bench team. And, you just would not believe, the brilliance of the people that are working on that and how quickly they are to pick up on EOS, and that's what's exciting to me.
Love it.
Guys, how are we going to keep up with $1 billion company and everything that it's doing? Well, this guy is just eating it for lunch, and every day he's coming back. You won't believe what I learned how to do this time, And he is super impressed with the quality of everything that's in EOS. But the neat thing about it is he knows what it implies for BitShares, and he's attracting quite a team of people that are just sitting there. It's really fun to watch because, like, he'll post something and people will go, "Egad!" He'll post something again and go, "Wow!" It's like almost everything he posts is reacted to that way as just insight after implication after, it's where it's happening. Now, there's a lot of other teams that are doing good stuff for BitShares too. That BitShares is not centralized on any one development team. They're all over the place. But this particular team here is a real sleeper, and it's the one that Michael and I have sort of taken under our wings to root on. Not that we have anything against the other guys, but this is just so awesome that I'm excited about it.
Well, everybody also, that's what they were asking about, saying it was beautiful. And so you're saying that I can go see it? I thought it was all being made. Is this all behind the scenes, or actually I can go see how it's working and how it's looking?
Well, you can go look at what's happening on EOS. That wouldn't be BitShares specific information, but you can go to the EOS.io website and see what's going on. And there's tons of high quality videos there that talk about how it's working and everything, what they're doing and what it means. But then you go behind the scenes at the bench team. Yeah. And that is, there's about a half dozen Telegram groups that are there, and some of them are private and some of them are, where public announcements are made. And, that information is just starting to leak out. But anything that you hear about in the main BitShares telegrams is like 10% of what's going on. And the rest will get leaked out when he's good and ready.
Who is this masked man?
You guys will be shocked when you learn who it is.
Shock me. All right. So I'm starting to do like you. I'm starting to throw out songs now when I hear them. So that was Kiss, and that was Ace Frehley, right? Shock me.
Excellent.
Yeah. I might come from a different era of you singing. I'm going to throw out some Kiss and some, I don't know. Maybe we'll match. But I know all your tunes too because I used to play them in radio. So Miss Cavs fan threw out Willie Stargell and Dave Parker. That's right, Dave Parker. Dave,
Excellent.
man, man, holy cow.
Willie Stargell's a pirate, though.
I wondered why I didn't know that name.
Bill, yeah. I come from back in the days of Don Clendenin and Manny Sanguian and Roberto Clemente and those kind of guys.
Who? What you talking about, Willis? All right, so Bill Madlock, Ed Ott, Omar Marino. Name ring a bell? I'm thinking they're ball players.
Yeah, probably. But, those, I don't know. They're outside my limited universe of Pittsburgh.
Same here. I'm with you. They're talking about bench chain is huge. Hope to see it early June when bench goes live. They're taking a guess, right? What do you think? They're throwing it out there to see what your eyes will do and if you'll give anything away.
No, I'm sure something will go live at the rate at which they're doing, but I'm just saying that the project itself is expanding in ways that I couldn't have dreamed of a little bit ago. But here's what I told to the developer. Maybe you've played this kid with one of your nieces or nephews or cousins or some little kid that you happen to do it. But that old game where you put your hand down on the table, the little kid puts their hand on top, and then you put your hand on top, and they put their hand on top, and then the one on the bottom pulls their out on top, and you just play that game over and over again until the kid gets tired of it. But that's exactly what we're talking about. There's BitShares, and there's STEEM, and there's EOS, and there's Bench. And, this stuff that's building on top of it is just climbing up. So we are looking at Bench as being something that will take a lot of benefit out of EOS, but the thing it brings to the table is actually taking it beyond that. We're not talking about playing catch up to EOS. We're talking about appreciating EOS and building on top of it. And so we're with that particular team getting out in front of it, not running to catch up. And I never expected us to be in that position, but I'm excited about it.
That's neat. And just so people will know, even though Dan is your son, I'm just guessing, I'm just going to take a little leap out here. I'm just going to reach out and see what comes from this. But I bet if he wasn't your son, you would still love what EOS is doing.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. Although, I might not be paying attention to it to have ever learned it was good, So that I think is our big advantage is that people in the BitShares and STEEM communities know who Dan is.
Yeah.
And therefore, they're more informed about it as to those poor, unfortunate souls who got the Bitcoin or Ethereum religion.
And they're whining.
Yeah. That's right.
Hear it working hard.
They will be late to the party discovering it, right? And it's simply because we're all limited in what we can do. We get ourselves blinders on inside any one community, and it costs a lot of energy. I mean, I don't even have the energy to keep up with what's going on EOS, and I know what its importance is. But people who are in one of those also ran organizations that have 50% of the total market cap of the industry, they are probably sitting back saying, well, we got 50% of the total market cap of the industry, so what, me worry? But they ought to look at what's going to happen. By the end of the year, Dan Larimer's projects will probably be pushing 80% of the industry's transactions between the three systems. So think about that.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, let's see. Crypto family, does EOS launch software or platform?
Yeah, it's EOS itself is a platform. It's a platform for platforms, if you will, an operating system for them. And then you can build multiple platforms on it. Dan famously said that when someone wanted him to compare it to Ethereum, he says, well, EOS can run Ethereum in a single contract. So yeah, it
That's
could
right.
theoretically host Ethereum if it wanted to, and it could host Steem it. I think he might even have a plan for something like that. But he has made an interesting comment that BitShares might be better off taking advantage of its unique capabilities to stay off of EOS, but take advantage of EOS in other ways besides building on top of it, build beside it and so on. So,
did he have some ideas behind that, or just say that?
Well, no, I just saw a list of still 3 different ways being discussed of how to do it. And, it's changing day by day. So whatever I told you last week, it's probably wrong.
Oh.
And I think one of the real possibilities now is that there may be a way to make BitShares 3.0 be an EOS chain. So that would be shocking. But, of course, that's not universally believed with all the experts. That's just one of the possibilities the bench team's thinking about. And other people strongly believe it ought to stay off of there and be separate to take advantage of some of its other features. There's fundamental design differences in terms of how access to resources are allocated, for example, that might tip the scale one way or the other. But one way or the other, it'll be a family of chains that take advantage of the different technologies in the best way we can figure out.
I'm seeing a little bromance with the bench team.
You are?
Yeah, major bromance with the bench team. It's bromance. Wow. I don't know. You might have some chicks in there too, but it sounds like a big bromance. You're loving that bench group. So.
Well, yeah, we've got some talent that is female in nature that has joined that team as well.
Good. You go, girl.
We're being nice to them too.
Good.
We went out and recruited them, some top talent from other past projects that has come across, and is on there now applying their talents as well.
Well, we're looking forward to all this. With Bench, a negative from a few months ago has turned into a huge positive. So happy for Bench. Those names, Bill Madlock, Ed Ott, and Omar Moreno, he said that's, or Miss Cavs fan said that's pirates from the 70s. Dude.
Okay. All right. Well,
you weren't a fan back then.
In the 70s, I was busy learning to be a rocket scientist. And I did not watch baseball. Best I could do is watch reruns of MASH at that time. But back in the 60s, when I was still home with my dad, the Pirates were on every night, so I learned to know them pretty well. Yeah,
that's about with me. I learned the Reds back then between my little baseball years. However, during that time where they all what were they having? They were what is it? You stand up there like they were on strike. They weren't really on strike, but remember they kept stopping their games at one point. Baseball, they kept throwing they kept stopping the games. They would stop right beforehand. The pitcher would kind of balk and do all this kind of junk, and they would stop it. You get set up for a game. You're there with your friends, and you watch for a game, and then it's on TV, and then all of a sudden, they all get out there on the field to play, and then they stop, and they kept doing that for a period of time. I can't remember what it's called. It's such a little stupid little word. Anyway, they were protesting. They were stopping. They were trying to get more money or something. Probably I don't even remember what it was about. But it was a big deal. And at that point, I was done. The climax kept happening, and then there was nothing there. And I was forget it. Just forget it. I'm not watching this anymore. And we went out and played ball ourselves instead of watching the Reds play or anybody else play. So that got kind of old. Somebody's going to hopefully throw that up there. Whatever that was when it happened. Crypto family. Hey, BitShares on EOS or no? BitShare rec KYC, yes or no? Does that make sense for you? BitShares require KYC. Oh, okay. BitShares on BitShares on EOS, yes or no? And then BitShares requires the KYC.
Yes or no?
Which is what Quint requires, correct?
So, yeah, they got it perfectly right. the answer to both of those questions is yes or no.
Thank you, Stan. We got to go now, everybody. Take care.
There are coins going to be on the BitShares network that will require KYC, AML, and others that won't, right? So
okay, right.
That's true. And as I just mentioned, they're looking at multiple chains to build up the interface between BitShares 2.0, which won't change because there's enough people dependent on that. We don't want to come along and depend on people voting to adopt the new stuff, which they could well not do, and we don't want to pull the rug out from under developers who are counting on that particular code base. So at some point, a chain gets mature enough that you don't perturb it with big changes. So the neat thing about cross-chain communication is you can now start layering chains that are side chains on there that augment the capability. And some of the functions on the new chain will actually use BitShares from the BitShares chain in order to access those services. So it'll drive demand for the BitShares coin and help that ecosystem while adding new functionality that is available. And part of that new functionality is the question is it going to be implemented on the old Graphene or on the new EOS? And there's several design decisions that are still being considered for that.
Well, I got to tell you, I can't wait to, at one point, when I meet you in person, I feel, like I've known you forever now, but oh my gosh, I feel like I've known you forever, Stan. But I can't wait to meet you in person and have you actually draw out on a board some of these things, because a visual really sticks in my head very well. And you're very good at describing these things. And I know you could draw it up very well too. And then it would stick really well. And it would be like, wow, look what you guys are really doing. I'll relearn it all again and go, this is really cool. So, InfoPlanet, how are you doing that where you get the color in there? Are you doing a super chat? Is that what that is? If so, thank you. That's cool, because I don't know how else you would do it, and I think maybe did they change it like that? But anyway, thank you for that. Those of you just joining us, it's Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. I'm Connie Willis. This is Crypto Connie Tuesday, so tonight I'm actually Crypto Connie. At Stan Larimer having a drink there, and there is no product placement going on at all. No, we got to do that, at one point. We got to get somebody to sponsor these shows. Yeah. While you're here, if you have a question or a comment, please put it in all caps, and that way I'll be able to see it. And that's fine. It doesn't matter if it's a comment or not. Sometimes, I'm still, green to a lot of these things. So when you put something in initials, sometimes I don't know if you just kind of shorten it because you can't type, or it's actually, a coin of some sort. So forgive me, but you live and learn. InfoPlanet says, besides BitShares and EOS, are there any other cryptos Stan holds?
No.
A bazillion, but go for it. Tell your heart. I have some of the variety that you can get on the BitShares network natively. There's a bunch. I got a few heroes and some BitUSD and things like that. But occasionally I hold Bitcoin temporarily while I'm needing to pay somebody for something. But the only thing I hodl for sure is BitShares. HODL, HODL, right?
Yeah, hold on for dear life.
Hold on for dear life. Yeah, I mean, people actually use that all the time. When I first saw it, I went, "Holy cow, this is serious. What is this?" Oh, it's just holding on. Okay, I like it. And see, that's.
Before I forget, you were talking about product placement.
Yes.
And over my right shoulder is a book that I referenced Sunday. It's the book called Heaven by Randy Alcorn, which is just chock full of everything the Bible has to say about what heaven's like, which is not what you think. And if you'd like to get a preview of it, look at my lesson that we did together at 1 o'clock last Sunday. But that was a book I was talking about, and I just...
Go ahead and show it. Yeah, grab it.
I went and found it, and it's just got one word, Heaven, by Randy Alcorn. And this was an amazing read. I had no idea there was so much, a whole book full of stuff about what heaven's like. So For what it's worth, it accurately tracks what the Bible says, and so that's why I recommend it.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I interviewed a guy, Dr. Jeff Long, Dr. Jeffrey Long. He's a doctor for cancer patients when they're at their last stages. And he's interviewed 4,000 people, I believe, that have had near-death experiences, because he's been around a lot of people in that situation. And he has, through these interviews, and he's got a couple books, he has, his last one was written, Evidence for God. And it's because of what people have, we talked about this before, I think last weekend, where, what they've seen and what they've come back with. And so he probably liked that book, that's all. He's just a wonderful guy, very caring and loving man. I've had him on Coast to Coast a few times, like I've had you on a few times, and then I got to get him here on Blue Rock Talk, but you'd love him. He's just a wonderful guy, incredibly intelligent and kind, and just, all about, he went into this as a doctor, not thinking anything about the other side. He thought, that's it, it's over. And then when these people would come back, they'd have these experiences and come back, he was just amazed and blown away. And so now he's a big advocate of it. So I think that's really cool. And his bigger advocate is, hey, there's proof of God. There's proof of God. People are seeing a light. They're seeing this. They're describing some of the things that are in the Bible. And it's really, it's fun to, it's certainly a nice outlook, right, for those people out there that are thinking that just lights out,
Mm-hmm. That sounds interesting. On the other hand, the other show we did on a rocket scientist talks to flat earthers.
Yeah.
I don't know that I made any converts on that, Connie. I thought I had a slam dunk when I said, guys, go to the southern hemisphere and look at the constellations. They're all upside down. I thought I had the debate won. And they're still throwing out a bunch of stuff that's scientifically not true. Okay, I did my best.
I love it. Well, I put word out to get a hold of Mark Sargent, and I have not heard back from him yet because I was trying to get you guys together for Thursday night, but I have not heard from him yet. Mm-hmm. If that happens, I hope you still got Thursday night open if that happens, but I haven't heard back from him yet. But hang in there with it. Don't be going anywhere. Speaking of, where are you going? You've got, you're like the man with the plan getting some frequent flyer miles.
Well, I'm gonna be playing volleyball on Thursday night, but maybe I'll be home by the time we get around to your 10 o'clock show. But the cool thing about playing sandlot volleyball is my grandchildren they're just learning to play volleyball, and I was so honored. They said, "Can we go watch Grandpa play?"
Aww, isn't that
I go play at Virginia Tech with all these volley babes that show up to play, and I'm by far the oldest guy on there, but I'm also the dirtiest player too, in terms of since I'm no longer able to clear the net by very many feet, I got to be treacherous instead of powerful.
So I got a question. A question. Just a visual here. Then keep going. But all right. So you're saying volleyball in the sand, volleyball babes. I know they wear really short little outfits, or at least when you see them with the Olympics. I'm kind of picturing that. I don't know if that's the case, but does that mean that Stan Larimer, the godfather of BitShares, has a little Speedo going on?
No, we won't go there.
Well, I had to ask. I have to ask the hard questions.
Even the volley babes dress fairly conservatively, but
okay.
They are babes.
Okay. Oh, mercy. I had to ask that. Somebody else would have asked me that. Hey, Connie, does that mean he's doing this? They would have quietly asked me behind the scenes.
Yeah, if I tried to represent anything else, there'd be spies out there reporting me before the next day. So.
Okay, Jamie Spademan. BitShares has had a nice bump from 12 to 20 cents. Any specific reason why? And we congratulate you once again for that, too. Woohoo! A blue rocker! Congratulations! Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know there's anything specific other than we're coming out of the tax season and all that selling pressure from people needing to sell their cryptos of all types in order to pay taxes was a drag. And now that drag's over, money's flowing back into the system maybe, and that might cause a little optimism as as spring has sprung and everybody's feeling good about all of that. So I think everything's getting a little boost. Maybe we're starting to pick up, some some drafting from the EOS excitement and stuff. But, that remains to be seen. But it does look much better than it did a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. And, dude, I'm hoping Blue Rock Talk has a little something to do it. Maybe a penny.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, let me back up. Rewind.
Okay.
Edit it's entirely.
Not entirely, but maybe. I hope so. Crypto family. Jesus loves us. Johnny John. Stan, have you ever come across the teachings of Neville Goddard? How do you say it? Goddard?
It's not familiar.
No? Even I know what Johnny John's talking about there. Just can't say the name. Crypto family said, well, there's your answer, Johnny. No. Crypto family. BitShares, working product should be like $2 to $10. Now it'll blow up to that by the end of the year.
Well, I hope you're right. Yeah.
So
From your mouth to God's ears. That's all I can say.
There you go. Gary Fry's always great show. You two are great. Well, thank you, Gary. That's nice. Stan with the Speedo. Too funny. Ha!
And you guys just wish you'd get to see that.
Somebody has to do a Photoshop and send that to me. That'd be great. I don't think there's any body shots of you. I think
there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Oh, is there? Okay. I know there's always, you see you in your overalls or, the ones that I have that we show up. But somebody, do you remember who that was? Who was that? I can't even remember who it is now, but somebody did a shot of you and I with the pitchfork and, what was the lady in the pitchfork? What's that?
Oh, the picture is called American Gothic.
That's it.
It's a famous picture. You find it on a Kellogg's cornflakes box back in the 70s, I think.
That's right. That's right. They put your face on it and my face on it. That was hilarious. I mean, I laughed out loud when I saw that. Let's see here. Oh, make sure to follow Lurehound on Steam It. I need some votes. Oh, Gary Fry's is Lurehound. Okay. Okay, great. Remind me when you go on that and say you're a Blue Rocker. I'm at Blue Rock Talk. And make sure you do that to Stan too, and then he'll punch it too, right, Stan? I don't want to speak for you over there. Okay.
Sounds good.
I don't want to tell you everything you're going to do. I'm sorry. Let's see here. My smile's worth at least 2 cents. That's right. Blue Rockers brought it up. Let's see here. Yeah, 20 cents to $20. I would love that. That would be great. Well, $1 would be awesome. What's the highest it ever got to, Stan?
Oh, I don't know. It was maybe up in the low 90s or something towards the end of last year.
That's what I thought. It was 92.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So I'm going to go back here and see if I can find some of the questions that I saw there earlier here. Ooh, it's moving too fast. Mark Sargent is an actor. You know what? I love talking to him about Flat Earth because he's fun, he's nice, he's not ornery, and I think that he and Stan would do a good job together. I think that would be interesting to watch and not just these horrible mean ones when people are nasty. That, I want to learn. I want to know, is it really flat? Are we really in a terrain, what do they call terraniums? When you're in a bowl? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Well, heck, you don't know. I mean, well, you're a Mars rover dude. You think you know. Who knows, right? Do we really know? There's what we know. There's what we don't know. And then there's what we don't know that we don't know. That's a bigger percentage of the pie.
Yeah. Well, I'll just point out back to the, what was it called? Men in Black. I'm not sure what the first or second movie, but, at the very end of that movie, they walked up and opened a door, and here the entire movie is taking place inside a locker, and you were looking out into another entire universe. So anything is possible, If there's a glitch in the Matrix, who knows?
That's true. That's true. There's so many really cool theories out there that people throw out just to have one, and it's fun. Some people totally believe them, and I love it. That's what I love about Blue Rock Talk is the interesting conversations and theories like that. I don't want to. I'm not the person. Somebody had said, Connie, you can't be middle of the road. It never gets you anywhere. Well, first of all, George Norrie's done it and done a great job. And he'll, and I agree with him as a wonderful thing to do, because that way you hear both sides. If I'm telling you all I am is this, then I'm probably not going to bring somebody else on that isn't, unless I'm going to fight them. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that would get old too. I don't know. But I'm not a middle of the road on everything. I have opinions about a lot of them. But if I don't have an opinion, I bring it to, like you have an opinion on flat earth, and these other people have them, and they're strong opinions. So I bring you guys on. I learn that way. If it happens to be a Bigfoot or something, I don't need to bring this guy in and this girl in. I can just go out into the woods and go check it out for myself, and then come back and talk. And that's that my way to research flat earth is to listen to, a rocket scientist and then someone else that's done a lot of research on the other side. So I can't go out and walk. Well, I could probably go to the Antarctic and figure it out myself, but
but just go down to South America or Africa or Australia and look at the stars. It's a simple experiment to do, and you got to ask yourself, why am I not seeing this stack of elephants that the planet is supposed to be sitting on, or turtles, or whatever it is? No, I'm still seeing stars even when I'm in the southern hemisphere.
Well, they have an answer for that.
If it was flat, then when I went to those places, the stars would look the same, but they're upside down. Why is that? Because it does this.
And see, we need Mark Sargent, because he'll go, no, this, and I'll love it. I hope he comes. I hope you'll actually like him. I think. I don't know. Maybe he'll get tough. I've never seen him go head to head with someone. So. Let's see here. Let me ask you a few more of these little questions here. Oh, so you didn't say, or did you? You're going out. Oh, you were going to go do volleyball. Then maybe if we can get Mark Sargent, you'll do flat Earth, and then you're going to go have a vacation somewhere, right?
Well, then that the same morning is when I do the Virginia Tech breakfast, and then next week I'll be traveling down to Texas, and from Texas flying over to Athens, spend a week with some strong BitShares long-term supporters over there.
Excellent.
Who are going to give me a tour of Greece, particularly all the places the Apostle Paul visited in Greece. So, he went to Corinth and Athens and Thessalonica, and I don't know what they got all planned, but they're going to take me around to all of those Greek ruins that are scattered around that particular peninsula.
I love it. That's going to be fun. And I don't know, but do you think, how you've gone to things and you have said, hey, Connie, here I am, and we do a little breaking news and Stan is here. Do they got Wi-Fi over there? I mean, you think that we can do that from these really cool areas at all?
I don't know, but we'll certainly try.
Okay.
I have no idea what to expect. They got it all planned out, and I'm just grateful to be able to go over there and see it from a native perspective.
Yeah, I bet that's going to be fun. You better make sure you get a lot of pictures with you next to some of those really cool things. Abram is saying, I love BitShares DEX, but is there anything where centralized exchanges does better than a DEX? And can you explain for people like me what the DEX is?
Well, a decentralized exchange is just...
that's it. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
A DEX is a decentralized exchange. There is no company that can get shut down or that can run off with your money or that can, front run your money or anything like that. Anything you imagine people might be doing on an exchange, taking advantage of the fact they got your money, can't happen on a decentralized exchange. Now, are there some advantages? Yeah, if you're all running on one computer, the thing can run faster, theoretically, than if you have to keep up with something decentralized all around the planet, where the speed of light has to work its way around the other side of the planet and take a second or so to get there. You don't have that problem with such an exchange. They have traditionally had more market depth because people are more used to them, and they have the ability to add extra benefits like interfacing to the banking system so you can wire them money. Decentralized exchange has nobody to wire money to. So even on BitShares, if you want to wire money in, you got to go to something like Open Ledger in order to have them perform the gateway service between fiat and crypto. And so you get all that in one package if you're on a centralized exchange. And but the neat thing about BitShares is once you go through one of those gateways and get on the thing natively, you can stay there and never have anybody with their thumb on the scale until you have to check out. And then, of course, you have to take the little bit of risk of going back through human hands to get the money into your bank account. But at that point, what difference does it make? You're giving it to the U.S. banking system or whatever country you're in. And, that's about as risky as you can think of. So if you're going to pass in and out, the real thing is at that boundary between human-operated and unmanned. And you have to cross that boundary sooner or later, so far anyway.
What's the guy's name? Satoshi
Nakamoto.
Nakamoto. D. Champer says that's Donald Trump. I love it. I love it. People said, oh, it might be, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be excellent?
Somebody actually trademarked that name just so they can leverage on it. That was pretty clever.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether we'll ever find out. I've talked to people who swear they know who it is, but we'll see.
Well, I thought you had said before that Dan spoke to him at one point. Did you speak to him or? Yeah,
back in the day, 2010 time frame when Satoshi was still a public figure and talking on the forums, Dan got into a little back and forth with him about whether 10-minute block times were fast enough for a vending machine, I think is what he argued with him about. Okay. But, that was just
but he's real.
Thing. At that time, Dan was pretty much brand new to the industry and a total unknown. But now he is the master.
The master. The grasshopper has jumped ahead of the master. That's good. Good for him. Good for him. So Miss Cavs fan says EOS holds 300,000 Ethereum tokens and EOS holds 100 million EOS tokens. There you go.
There you go.
And here is their address. Oh, there we go. We got that too. All right. And Johnny John goes back to flat Earth and says, I don't know what shape the Earth is, but I've never seen curvature and it feels stationary. I just say Earth is light because I don't know the shape. More power to you. There you go. So, Pat, I don't know. Pat, you always have these message retracted. I don't know what that is. Are you throwing them out and then taking them away? What is it? What the Sam Hill? Why doesn't U.S. Fed just buy all Bitcoin?
Boy, that scares me that they might. Imagine them printing up a bunch of money and buying up all the cryptocurrencies out there. That's entirely the kind of abuse that could happen. So hopefully they will continue to, speak disrespectfully of it until it gets bigger enough that, that can't happen. But to face it, if you can print money on a national scale, there's no amount of money you can't print. And we may see dirty tricks like that happen at some point. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the industry responds to that. I personally think that it would be great because if they come in and let's say they decided to buy up BitShares, well, the act of trying to take that over would drive up the value of BitShares to an enormous level. And if they wound up doing that, then somebody in the BitShares network would simply clone BitShares and leave out the newly purchased coins, and it would be back to being just the people before, but with a lot more value. So there are countermeasures to that kind of behavior, but it does get kind of dicey at that point because now you're messing with the trusty robots and inserting humans in it, and that's never good.
No. Now, I got a couple of neat comments, and then I want you to be able to explain it to B because they are feeling good about this. So I want to know what they're talking about. So when Crypto Family said, was it Crypto Family said it? They were talking about, okay, well, so Pat's talking about EOS, again, with how much they have in Ethereum, and he talks to Miss Cavs fan and says, think what's going to happen when EOS dumps all those Ethereum. And the Miss Cavs fan, good position to be in. So what does that mean? What would that do if they did that?
Well, it would be incredibly stupid on their part. It would be harmful to Ethereum for sure, but it would also be harmful to their net worth, right? Anytime you dump and drive the value of something down, you're driving the value of your own supply down. So since they're holding that in Ethereum, that means they would like the value of Ethereum to stay where it is, so they could sell it gradually as they need to. Dumping it would be very stupid on their part. They won't do that.
I think, I don't know where this one came from. Anthony Gomez, I'm not sure where you asked that from. Stan, is that a good reason not to invest? And I'm not sure what he's referring to on that. It could have been about the feds buying all the Bitcoin. I'm not sure. So, Anthony, if you can let me know that would help, because there's too many people in between, or too many little comments in between. So Johnny John writes that the Haejin Lee, I think that's how you say his name, on Steam, it predicted $300+ long-term price for BitShares. Is that the guy that is getting a lot of flack from the way he's upvoting or something like that? There's somebody that's getting a lot of flack for that. Anyway, I don't know if that is or not, but anyway, there's a comment for you.
Well, it's encouraging, but of course I can't make any comments about price. That just crosses too close into the realm where, government people don't like to see you speculating about the price, even though I really have nothing to do with the control of BitShares. It's its own thing, and I comment it as an industry observer. Still, it's never a good idea in this industry to stray into the area of making predictions about price.
It's so hard, though. That's the excitement of it all, though. It's like, that's what you're trying to do. I can't wait till it gets to this, and I know it will. Or you wouldn't be backing it up or supporting something. That's the whole plan. So it makes just no sense at all. So Abraham asked, is it possible for BitShares to have the same feature as BitMEX, as in 1x-100x leverage?
I don't think so. The leverage that we have right now is extremely conservative. Basically 2x is the most you can have in the BitShares system, and that was carefully selected because you don't want people getting margin called. And if you get a lot of leverage on a highly volatile thing, that can happen. Where you can get higher leverage is if you have a very stable thing like a national currency. Even though the dollar is decaying by 3 to 5% every year, that's still pretty stable on a day-to-day basis. And so in the currency markets, you can have a lot more leverage. But when you get down into the highly volatile markets of digital currencies, people have found don't even go near the 50% leverage, keep it at 4 to 1 or 6 to 1. I try to never go below 6 to 1 in terms of making sure I don't borrow more than 1/6 of the total value of my account, just because there can be wild swings by people manipulating it or panics or whatever. It's just never a good idea to go and get too close to the edge.
Tips from Stan. That's nice. Like that. That's a show right there. So Anthony Gomez was asking, is that a good reason not to invest because of Fed interference? Well,
I lump all that into the general categories of the risks in our industry, right? Our industry has lots of chance to make a lot of money and lose a lot of money. And certainly one of the black swan events is arbitrary and capricious government interference, right? And we've seen that happen. It happens every few months in some country somewhere. Somebody decides to change the rules in a dramatic way to cause panic, and some of that might even be deliberate. So, if you want, complete safety, then, I don't know where you can get that. Safety of holding U.S. dollars isn't all that good a deal either. I personally think a pallet of Spam in your basement's a real good investment.
I think you're right. You are so right about that. That's hilarious. Spam, pork shoulder and ham. That's what we always say, pork shoulder and ham. Gosh, you made me totally ruin a wonderful question because I'm thinking of Spam now. I need a little Spam. Spam and noodles, right?
I had that for lunch today. Spam and macaroni and cheese.
It's on your mind there. Okay. I can't get away from this thought now. Hold on here. What was I going to say? What were you saying about spam? And darn it. It was a good one. I'll have to go back and ask. Those of you just joining us, it's Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, Crypto Connie Tuesday. Stan Larimer with us tonight, the Godfather of BitShares, who had spam and macaroni and cheese today. It's just kind of messing me up now. That sounds so good. That's some home food right there. That is definitely comfort food for sure. If you would like to ask a question or give a comment, please do that in all caps. While you're here, please hit that like button as well and tell your friends about us too. The other thing is that please know that Stan does go back and look at all the neat little chat as it goes along. So send them a little, little one of these little, say, hey, Stan. All right. So, crypto family is going back onto just think what's going to happen when EOS dumps all those Ethereum. Crypto family says dumping it would crash competitor Ethereum and open up space for EOS to rise, take second market cap space.
Well, I guess there could be strategy there. I don't think you want to do that kind of stuff. Might even get you in trouble for market manipulation if you tried it. So I don't think anybody there is so stupid as to try that sort of thing. In principle, maybe the rise in EOS would be greater than the loss of the value of the Ethereum you're holding. But I wouldn't recommend that kind of thing. That's playing with fire.
It's funny because little Pat Konchak threw you one. He threw you one out there. You'll see it. You'll see it. Everybody throws Stan a blue rocker salute. That's what it is. It's blue rocker salute. That's it. Okay, so Athens, I can't wait to go there one day myself. So I'm looking forward to the pictures that you send back from there. We asked about, I wanted to ask you this. Somebody had a birthday recently, and he's a friend of yours and of Blue Rock Talk, and that is Jared Rice. I think just yesterday he had a birthday. And if you didn't say happy birthday to him, you better, I know you keep up with him. So how's he doing?
Well, I think he's doing phenomenally well because, he's not really worried about his case much. He's totally engaged in doing amazing new things. And so he's doing his first love, which is he's back to programming and, just letting the clock run out on the other case. And, I've often thought to myself, boy, wouldn't it be great to get thrown in jail for a few years so that I could actually take some time to learn some new skills instead of working all the time and learn about some new stuff, read some new books, whatever they let you do in those situations. And so right now he's kind of prevented from getting jobs from other people by the controversy around him. So he's taking it on himself to, learn new stuff and invent new stuff and having the time of his life as near as I can tell.
He's not in jail though.
No, but he might as well be, because they've taken and, nailed down his life and confiscated his bank accounts and restricted him to subsistence living, without having proved him guilty of anything. He's been punished now for several months without due process. That's outrageous, unacceptable. And, that's what our system is right now. They can take and put you in what amounts to a jail cell without walls, by taking your life away. And that's one of the reasons why we need, free digital currencies that are beyond the reach of government abuse. And, of course, they can still come in and hold a gun to your head and say, give me the codes and tell me where your currencies are. So it's not that safe, but we do need protection from this kind of bad behavior on governments.
I don't want to bring in politics, even though, you're just doing that. But so let me ask this question. I think I know the answer to this, what I've seen, but I'm curious what you see, because you're into this way bigger than I'm still, learning it day by day and second by second, and it's been a blast. I'm glad that I've gotten into that. Somebody by the name of Dr. Mulder got me into this and kept pushing me to do this. I'm like, no, just like all the other people. No, I'm not getting into it. But once you do, it's really exciting. And so thanks. I'm glad that I'm learning it with you, Stan. So I appreciate that. Lucked out, could have been with somebody else that, is already gone already. And I would have been like, oh no, because these things come and go. But politically, like, let's say we're watching the Academy Awards. I can tell you who's going to laugh at what joke. Right? I can tell you what party will laugh at what joke, and who's even watching the academies at the. I can tell you who's in the seats, and if people are even still tuned into it. I can tell you who's going to be tuned into it and who's not. So when it comes to the crypto world, do you see that the left loves it, or the right loves it, or one or all of them love it, or everybody loves it, or one side doesn't, one side doesn't?
Well, I'm going to give two answers to that, yes and no. But
and the show's over. Good night, everybody. All right, I'm putting a close-up on you here, so be ready. There you go, spotlight.
In general, we've managed to keep that kind of politics out of it. There's other kind of tribal warfare between all the different currencies, and that tends to absorb a lot of the argument time. To the extent that it's not a left-right question, it's a statist versus libertarian axis. That's where the real political debate is. People that want lots of government control and want government telling other people how to live their lives are not necessarily that interested in crypto. People who want the government out of their lives, want their freedom, tend to be in crypto. So it's along the up-down government size axis, not so much left-right, because I think there are people who use this community to talk about everything from cannabis to Christianity. Not that, that's necessarily a total dichotomy, but you have people of all persuasions on the left-right spectrum seeing the value of it. But generally, the people who are willing to let the other side alone and live their life the way they want to live it would be the libertarian crowd, and those who want to force the other side to be just like them would be in the government interference crowd, and you don't find as many of them.
I gotcha. Okay. That was a pretty good question there. I liked learning that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know. I was going to say the flat earthers are also in there. They should have their own coin too, only because because they could and they should, and I'm not against them at all. I love hearing what they say, but that would be cool for them to have their own coin. Maybe it's just called flat, and because they have a ton of people, they have a ton of followers.
If the permaculture people can have it, why can't the flat earthers have it? Anything that ties together your community, is a reason to have a coin. It's just like your bluerocktalk symbol, right?
Yep.
It's something that people can use to tie their community together. And if they can figure out a way to use that in a way that benefits their community's objectives, and that would be good.
Well, with the $1 billion hero, you can, a lot of people think when they want to raise funds, it's always for a charity of some sort. But this is not really set up for that. It's for anything you want to raise funds for. It could be like, I'm thinking of the flat earthers again. It could be to fund someone that they choose to, get out to the Antarctic and go to the end and get to the edge and get video of it. It could be something like that.
Sponsoring an expedition to go to the edge of the world. Wouldn't that
be cool? That'd be cool. And then they have their own coin. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. No, I strongly suggest it, and they should do it on BitShares.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's where you do it, right? You're the coin-making machine. Yeah. So I like that. So, you know what? It's after midnight. I don't want you to lose your beauty sleep, or also, don't want you to mess up on your, volleyball where I want you to be able to get your Speedos on and everything's cool. You don't want to put them on backwards. But also, hopefully we will talk to you next week or on Tuesday, or maybe not.
Yeah, I think I will be flying on Tuesday during the daytime, but I should be in my hotel room by then. So I could probably talk, but I won't have these beautiful bright lights. I'll be sitting in a dingy hotel room or something.
Oh, well, we'll see how it goes. But we will catch you on Sunday at 1 p.m. with Stan's Bible lecture, correct?
Yep. Lord willing, I will be there.
Okay. All right. And what are you talking about?
I'm going to be talking about, some of the other things having to do with the transition from this world to the next. And it's now into several parts of it, but that last 1,000 years of human history on this planet, and what all goes in there, and what happens on earth and in heaven during that period of time.
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. And I just want to check while you're here, since you are the godfather of BitShares, we are holding, at least on this one, at 20 cents. Just at 20 cents. So that's cool. This is, we're holding, man. This is good. You were building back up. I think when I first met you, it was at 20.
You and I are talking about it. It ought to be going to the moon. I don't understand why it's holding when we're doing a show like this.
So what?
Well, all the people are watching us instead of buying BitShares right now.
Get over there now.
Progress. That's what's happening.
Tell them now to get over there. Just have to open another open window here. So, Stan the Man though, and Junior is a genius. Stan the Man though, and Junior is a genius. Oh, I think he's saying and Dan. I think that's it. Connie, do you get your beauty sleep? We count on it. Dan, it's a little late for you. Oh, Stan. I think he's saying Stan there. Sorry. No. Love you both. Everybody's saying some very nice things. Thank you, Johnny John, Crypto Family. Jamie Spade says, thanks again. Appreciate the info and communication. And everybody, you can talk to Stan again on Sunday, if not Thursday night. If we can make it happen, we'll tell him to come home after his volleyball. We'll understand that you haven't taken a shower. You're just coming right in to talk to flat earthers. If we can get Mark Sargent, we'll do that on Thursday night, and that'll be at 10 p.m. And otherwise, we'll talk to you on Sunday at 1 p.m. So remember, everybody, everything is live. So you get to ask questions that way. So say goodbye to Stan. Anything else before you go, Stan?
Nope, that's enough for tonight. I didn't think we'd have anything to talk about, but who knew?
Hey, man, you stick with me. Don't worry. Conversation will occur. I'm telling you. I'm good that way. That's my thing. We'll let him continue building BitShares and all these other really cool things on the BitShare blockchain and this BitShare 3.0 and all this other really cool thing, Bench, blah, 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 $1 billion hero, blah, 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 all the other things. And I'll stick to the conversing, and we'll make sure everything happens that way. So everybody, thank you, Blue Rockers, for being here tonight with cryptoconnie Tuesday and Blue Rock Talk. I love that you guys have I think you've pretty much hit them all. Hit all those likes. If you're here, mash that like button. I think that is a funny saying. And thank everybody again. Until maybe, not a wasted Wednesday yet. It's coming. I've got some new things coming in that I've got to do. And because of that, it's going to take me some time to get back into action on that one and to start it. We'll have a really good premiere when that happens. Thursday night, possibly, the Flat Earthers, Mark Sargent, we're looking for you, dude, to talk with Dan. Now I'm doing it, Stan the Man. And I do hope we get Dan one day with you. I think that would be cool. Even if he just sits there and you do that, that would be hilarious. That would be funny. That would be funny. And then we've got Bigfoot Friday, possibly. Like I say, it's going to be a tough week, but we'll definitely get in the Stan's Bible lecture on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So until next time, I just want to say hey to everybody. Thank you very much for being a Blue Rocker. Hit that like sign. Subscribe, please. And please bring on some new friends and family. We'd like that. All right. Take care, everybody. Talk to you later.